Bro, you can't even do the table last time.
You can?
Nah, not really.
Yeah, you can. All right, everybody. Welcome back. This is our what day is it today? Tuesday special episode. Hopefully it's 30 minutes and we're not here all night like on Friday.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
sounding like a fucking
I know.
psychopath. Sorry. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, the Specifically Random
Hopefully.
Podcast. I am John DeLongo.
No, I'm Jair Monares.
And Jair's already hitting the goddamn table, man. Just as a reminder, this is a podcast in which we talk about anything specifically that is random.
Specifically random shit.
Yeah, today we're gonna try to do 30 minutes. Jair had the timer. I don't know
we're
why.
gonna do a long episode Fridays, like regular episodes, and then a small episode on the week.
Yeah, because I gotta do work too.
Yeah,
do some lesson planning here.
so it's just gonna be something quick but pretty fun.
So actually, our topic here today is just Joe Rogan. We saw that he was trending today, and I was listening to an older. I was listening to him today. Action Bronson, is that fool?
Oh yeah, Bronson.
That fool was on there a while back, and I was listening to him.
I
guess today,
that's a fat dude, right?
yeah, but he's skinny.
He
now.
lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, but
What is that for a rapper? I never.
he's a rapper. He's a chef. I don't know. He does a bunch of shit.
That's
Dude.
all I never.
That fool's cool. He has like a show called "Fuck That's Delicious" or something.
He had a guy last Friday, political speaker, like he's a libertarian. That dude is fucking badass too.
He was. I guess my first question though is what makes Joe Rogan so great? That's my question. Like we're watching this podcast.
So popular now?
No, I'm just talking about great. Well, yeah, because it became popular because it's so great. Like what made his show so great?
I think, from what I've been hearing and seeing, because I don't watch it, I just hear it. I think just because he has like a casual conversation with people. And he's very objective about stuff. And he calls people like under bullshit. Like when he had Alex Jones, he was like, whoa. And then he fact checked him, like everything he said.
Right.
And like he's just very objective. Like he doesn't he agrees with some stuff, but then like he goes and asks the questions that nobody else wants to ask. And he's like, he doesn't give a fuck if the other people are uncomfortable or comfortable. Like, he had this guy last time, some old dude, and he was talking about, like, spiritual shit. And Rogan was like, that's bullshit. Like, and he kept telling him that the guy kept getting frustrated. And Rogan was like, well, I don't believe that shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think it's just, like, a casual conversation, but with, like, badass guests. Well, a lot of them are badass. Some of them are, like, kind of boring. He has a lot of his friends, like, comedians, which are funny. The thing that fucking frustrates me, like when he has historians or like philosophers and they don't fucking talk about his history or philosophy, dude. Like, conversation's still cool, but they don't really like.
Yeah, because it seems like all the episodes. I mean, I was listening to Action Bronson one. I think that's the full name. I don't even know anymore. But like it seems like everything is just about COVID-19.
Yeah,
like, that's all he talks about.
Yeah, he comes back to that. Like he really emphasizes, like you were saying right now. You know, like why like a 20-year-old, why shouldn't he get vaccinated? Yeah. And it's not that he's against vaccines and stuff.
Is his like the first podcast ever? Like is that why it's so great? Like he was like,
no, I mean, he was one of the first ones that started, but I mean, like 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, he has like 1,000 episodes or something.
Yeah.
With 1,000 episodes.
Brian Redban, he started with him.
365, that's... 660 episodes is.
That's how much he has?
That's 2 years. Fuck. So that fool's at like.
I don't know how much
he skips because he skips Saturday and Sundays. I don't think he does Saturday and Sundays. So whatever, what is that? 6 years? I don't know. 7 years, 8 years? I don't know.
Yeah, but I think just because of the guests he has, like on the show, like he has like conservatives, liberals.
Have you ever watched his like stand up, his comedy? Dude?
I never watched it.
Dude, he's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, I watched.
He's from the East Coast. People from the East Coast are usually funny.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That was my topic. I found it.
What?
My topic.
East Coast, West Coast?
What?
Tupac, Biggie?
No. Well, I think we can hold it for Friday. Because if we want to talk about Rogan, it seems like you want to talk about Rogan.
No, just kind of touch just some random shit.
Yeah.
No, but I was getting to the vaccine, the 21-year-old. I was just saying that you don't have to get vaccinated if you're 21. And it's not necessarily because he's pushing against vaccines. I mean... He's anti-vax or whatever.
No, he's saying that if you are healthy,
he has a fucking good fucking point, you know.
like if you're healthy and it's not a big risk for you, like you shouldn't get the vaccine. That's what he's saying.
Exactly.
You may agree or disagree, but he's not saying that 21-year-olds should,
shouldn't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
But also, every time he mentions like about the pandemic, he always says one thing that nobody ever talked about during the pandemic. They talked about wear your mask, don't go out, keep your distance.
Yeah, they never talked about getting healthy.
But he never talked about, okay, you guys need to take these vitamins and that vitamins and do exercise and get healthy. Like nobody ever mentioned that to this day, to prevent you getting sick in the first place or build up your immune system overall. And I think that's always been a good point, especially here in America. Dude, It's fucking crazy when you go to a store and like, now I go to the store and back then it was like weird to see like someone who's obese, like fucking like nasty obese, like they could barely walk.
Yeah, like
like you would be that person in the store, like that's a fat ass person, Yeah. And now it's like it's common, like you see like more than 5 or 6 in every store, and it's like morbidly obese, like, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Like 60% of the people are obese.
I mean, yeah, well, obese is if you're like a couple pounds over your
weight,
but I'm talking about like
huge. Extremely, like,
yeah,
what is it called? Morbidly
obese.
Yeah, morbidly.
Yeah.
Where like they can't even walk and they take the scooter.
Yeah, dude, when I had my fracture and I would go to the store,
you had to use that,
and there was never any,
right?
And they were all being used by fucking fat ass people who weren't even sick; they were just fat.
Is it? I don't know if I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with this in the sense of like, well, how can I don't know the science, but like maybe being addicted to food is an issue. Like being addicted to drugs. Like at some point it was like just stop drinking. You know what I mean? Like at some point it was like, just stop drinking, dude. It's not that hard, right? So like until eventually like scientifically.
No, I know there's a disorder.
Well, no, I know, that's what I'm saying. So like maybe like they're putting food in there like that's addicting, dude. Or putting chemicals that become addicting to people.
Like in the Chinese food, forgot that chemical they put.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And maybe that's an issue that needs to be talked about, but it doesn't get talked about because those people that are putting chemicals are those people making the money and those people are making the rules.
Yeah, but then we would all be obese. At least,
well, not necessarily, because I know a lot of people. For example, like I know a lot of people who eat pretty much the same food that I eat.
Yeah,
and I get bigger and they don't.
But you don't work out.
But they don't work out either. That's what I'm saying. No, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Your metabolism and shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes it is genetics. No, I understand that. Yeah, if you work out, well, yeah, dude. If you work out, that's not what I'm saying. It's not that I'm saying that I can't get skinny. That's not what I'm saying. I think everybody can get skinny. With just some people need to work extremely hard in comparison to other people. I don't know the science, but that's what I'm saying. Like I had buddies that would eat whatever the hell they wanted, dude. Like I'm talking about like even when we played soccer, like when I was in college, right? Like let's just say I would go to. I'll give you an example. We would go run at Citrus, dude. Like do our workout, do everything right. Then it was me, Eddie, and Eric, and Alex, dude. We would go to Costco, eat like chicken bakes and like after, dude. Right? So like we're eating the same food. We're not doing anything else. Like we're getting the same exact stuff, dude. Yeah. And like those foods were always way skinnier than I was. Yeah. Like I was out, I was skinny because I was working out and stuff. But those foods were skinnier than me. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it was like, well, what the fuck? I'm eating the same food as them. I'm doing the same workouts as them. It's not like I'm doing anything good because I'm playing on the same team as them. And they were just skinnier than me, dude. Yeah. And that's the thing is like some people just work differently in that sense. Like I would have had to work harder to get to where they were at. Yeah. And where like some people. Once again, I think everybody can get skinny. It's not like, well, your genetics, you're fucked. Just say don't. You just be fat or be obese, be mortally obese. Yeah,
but that's what I mean. Exactly. Anybody can just, if they really want to, they can get skinny, Yeah,
but does that take away, like if they really want to, they can stop drinking. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. There's always that want, though. Yeah. If you want to learn, then it's going to be easier.
You'll learn. If you really want to learn that, then you'll
but some people, it takes more time for them to notice that than other people.
It's discipline. Yeah. That's what we're lacking. Well, that's what a lot of people are lacking. Yeah. Discipline overall, I think. And then, is it him?
And it's also just easier. it's easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight.
Oh well, yeah, especially when you have food in every
corner.
everywhere you go, there's food.
Yeah, no.
Like you go to fucking AutoZone, they have Snickers, they have chips. Like it's a fucking auto parts store. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing too. We have to check, like, in the sense of like countries that are healthier than us. What is the rate on them dying from COVID? You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, we would have to also look at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because he always says that, I guess, 80% or 70% of the people who went in for COVID, they had low vitamin D and their health was bad. And, you know, so, I don't know. And another thing that bothers...
That's all the same. Like, that's all the same. Sorry, I was kind of far from the microphone. Like, you always should take vitamin D, though. It's like, it's not like just because COVID's around.
Just walk out to the side, you get vitamin D.
Yeah, but some people don't take it. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
I get that. Dude, I was low in vitamin D. I had deficiency. Last time I went to the doctor, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe because I was in my house all day and I had a broken foot for 8 months.
Yeah, but no, that's not... Like, when I was, like, playing soccer all the time, dude, and doing it, I was still low in vitamin D.
Yeah, because you're white. You're light skinned.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think I
don't know. It's like, maybe we're just...
I think I got it the other way. I don't know. I think dark skin absorb vitamin D better. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I don't know, dude. But I guess the thing was that so Rogan's thing, he's trending because he said something like, well, 21-year-olds shouldn't get it if they're healthy. But he says if you're healthy, well, yeah, dude. If you're healthy, scientifically proven it is that, you know, it is. But you also, like, if you can get the vaccine, you want to get the vaccine because you want to make sure that you don't spread it to somebody else, and you try to get everybody to not spread it. Which, that would be my argument with him. Like, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Rogan, if I was talking to him. Like, you know, I understand what he's saying, but does that mean, like, well, then if you're super healthy as a baby, don't get the other shots? Like, where do we stop that? You know what I mean? Like, in that sense, like, you don't want other people to get it. That's the whole point. Like, you don't want other people to get it. Therefore, I'm going to get the vaccine. I'm going to get the vaccine so I don't pass it on to other people who, you know, who may be morbidly
susceptible
obese.
To the...
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But
I just hate how people bash the vaccine. Like they're like, oh, you're going to get the vaccine now. You're a sheep. Or like, oh, you're like, it's like, dude, like, you should be worrying about fucking diabetes first, bro. Like, you know, high blood pressure. And then you worry about being manipulated by the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing is, like, when do things... I guess my topic... Well, I had a bunch of topics. I already forgot the other one. No, I didn't. I got it.
Dude, if you believe in God, do you still get the vaccine? Or do you let God protect you from COVID?
That's a good question. You have to ask somebody who believes in God. Or in their God, I guess.
Yeah, because there's like over 4,000 of them. 4,000 deities. I
don't know. I think... When do things become like informational, and when do things come entertainment? Like, when you watch Joe Rogan, is that entertainment or is that informational? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or when you watch both. CNN, is that entertainment or is that information?
That's satire.
Or if you watch Fox News, is that like...
That's satire too.
That's what I'm saying, is that people are watching this stuff as if it was actually news.
Now I think it's pretty interesting now that you mention it, and this just literally just came up to my head. Like, we're probably moving away from news, like the news media, CNN, Fox News, because a lot of people don't even trust those news sources, only like older people, you know. But I think we're moving away from that and looking at it as satire or like fake news or like really biased news. And we're really moving into podcast. Maybe not YouTube so much because YouTube has a lot of bullshit. But like podcasts like Rogan's. Yeah. Because you get actual professionals, you know. Who are
on CNN, you get actual professionals too.
Yeah, but they're like there's a big biases, you know. And like I said, Rogan's popular because there's no biases there, you know. I mean, the professionals go and they can spit their biases, but Rogan calls them out on their bullshit. You know, it's like no, or like he asks the questions, he goes above and beyond. Where on CNN, they don't really if they get a liberal or a Democrat on there, they won't really push it. You know, they won't really try to make them look bad. And if they get a conservative or a Republican, then they're going to go really hard at them.
When do you think that changed? Do you think that changed with like social media? Because YouTube is a social media. I mean that
Yeah.
it is like because Joe Rogan was on social media before,
Yeah.
meaning he was on YouTube. Like his show was on YouTube
Yeah.
or his podcast, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. I mean, I never really watched the news in the first place. So, but I mean, I did notice the polarization when Trump came in. I think there's a before and after America. Before Trump and after Trump.
Or
You know what I
like
mean?
before the Civil War and after the Civil War. I mean, there's a bunch of befores and afters.
Well, yeah, but like you can see the shift, you know, and like in America, like the polarization. That's what everybody talks about, you know.
The polarization.
The Trump's presidency created.
But what's more dangerous? What do you think is more dangerous? CNN or Fox News?
I think both.
You think so?
Yeah, dude, because they cater to their audience, just like Shapiro does, just like Candace Owens. I haven't heard any liberal podcast, but just like they do, they cater to their audience. Whatever their audience wants to hear, they'll give it to them. You know what I mean? And Rogan's not like that because he doesn't have a set audience. I mean, he does, like I told you last time, he does go on his fucking tangents when like somebody mentions California and the full orgasms and he starts talking about shit California, you know? But other than that, like, he's very objective and he doesn't have a set audience. Like, I'm pretty sure Republicans and Democrats and liberals and conservatives, they all listen to Rogan, you know? They agree and disagree with some things he says.
Yeah.
But that's how it should be, you know?
Well, of course you should agree or disagree
Because
with a lot of things.
if fucking Republican listens to Shapiro, he's probably like,
yeah.
you know?
What do you... I have an issue, though. Like, I have an issue with both sides, CNN and Fox News, though. And that's why I always try to get my news, like, from YouTube, in the sense of, like, people who are political analysts on YouTube. Because I feel like they're being paid by their viewers, not by the thing. But then that becomes an issue because eventually you become like Ben Shapiro, who only talks, like, who used to be objective because his audience was, like, much more broad because he was not as popular, right? Until he started saying, you know, things that a lot of liberals didn't understand and would be like, oh, well, he hates, I don't know, gay people, which he kind of does. But, well, not necessarily, but his religion is that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then, like, it started rolling because a lot of people listened to that and they really like that. And those people are on one side. And then he was like, well, these are the people that are really listening to me now. So I'm just going to go with that. And that's where, like, I feel it becomes an issue, right? But, like, I started noticing really a lot after this, I know I kind of talked about it last time, but after this Derek Chauvin trial. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought he was going to come out and be like, oh, well, yeah, it made sense. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, at first because it does make sense. Oh, it's like it's a horrible thing. But then after, it's like, oh, no, like...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He was high.
Yeah, and that's kind of like... You can see that the bias has ate him up like that. Yeah. And that's what's making him money. Yeah. So, like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what's making him money, and that's cool. It's really difficult for a lot of people to be like, well, I'm just going to continue doing what I believe.
That's why they're not the number one, like, podcast out there, or whatever they are, you know? That's why Rogan's the number one right now.
Right, because he brings people like Ben Shapiro, and then he'll bring people like David Pakman or Kyle Kalinske who are on this side.
He doesn't get money from the right or the left, you know? He's just a regular person, so to speak. You know, he's not into politics. You know, he's not like a politician like Shapiro
that was my topic.
Any of them. You barely remembered?
No. This is my topic. It connects to this because I feel like there's one set of group of people that are extremely important in our society. One set of famous people that are extremely important in our society.
Famous people?
Yeah, like a group of famous people. Like
Kardashians?
you have like, you know, the music people, then you have like comedians, you know, the political analysts on TV, and then you have reporters that are famous on TV, and then you have like comedians, and you have like painters that are famous, and all that stuff. Who, in your opinion, right? Then, like you said, you have comedians and stuff like that. And there's one group of people that I feel like the most important in our society,
like the most influential in our culture.
Just important, not influential. Because influential, you know, you'll have people like Ben Shapiro, and you'll have people like, you know, Candace Owens that are super, you know, influential. Yeah. And then you'll have like YouTubers that are just YouTubers. Yeah. That are super influential. I'm saying, like, in order for a society to function properly and advance, there's a group of famous people that, in my opinion, are the most essential.
Fuck, I don't know. Athlete?
No, I'm just asking you. What do you think?
Oh, what I think? I don't know. I would say journalist.
You think journalists
Like that guy Rogan, Josh Rogan.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's the other guy? Rogan had him on Zoom.
I don't know. I haven't
And he talked to Snowden.
Yeah,
and
Snowden.
He's on Snowden's side, and on the other guy.
Assange?
And he's
Julian
on
Assange?
No, he's on. He advocates for Assange and Snowden. Fuck. He's like one of the best journalists right now.
Yeah.
He was in the Snowden documentary on Netflix.
Oh, I'm not too sure. I didn't watch it.
Fuck, I forgot his name. Well, like, yeah, I think journalist, but
You
like
think so?
objective journalism. You know, like not the bullshit journalism, like
Yeah.
Shapiro's and Nolan's and all of them. Like objective journalism, like
Right.
you know that you're not getting.
Is that exist now though?
It does. That's why I
Because
said.
they all work for CNN or Fox News or
But when you
the
hear
BBC
people like
or
this guy that was on Rogan today, Josh
he
Rogan.
works for CNN, dude.
Yeah, dude, but look at the shit he said. Like, I mean, I don't know if he would say that on CNN. The shit, like I'm hearing this guy and I'm like, this guy's getting killed. He's gonna get killed. Like, all that shit he said, dude. Like,
Yeah, I only saw the stuff about like how he talked about the virus coming out of the.
and he talked about how China slow, like the influence China has had on the U.S. is specifically in the past year. How
Yeah.
where the U.S. is China's bitch. You know, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because everybody bows down to China just so they don't take the business away from them. The NBA, Disneyland, the Hollywood, everybody, you know?
Yeah.
But everybody shuts up about the concentration camps that they have for the Mugiyars, the Muslims.
Yeah.
And nobody says anything, you know?
Yeah.
Or Apple, they're like, oh, yeah, you know, we'll give up you guys' privacy, but just keep making our products. Or Nike. Like, oh, you know, they asked if is that cotton that you provide for us picked by slaves, pretty much. And China got mad and they threatened them to take away like their business with Nike. And Nike
Right,
said,
well.
no, never mind, it's okay. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like communism is bad except for when you're doing business with them.
Exactly.
I mean, China's communist. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't understand. Like they're all like everything is like, oh well, communism is bad, and it's like then why are you doing? But then you get to pick and choose. Like, how come you didn't do business with Cuba, dude?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? They're a
Because
communist.
China has more people. Apparently.
That's because Cuba was like, well, you're not gonna take advantage of us,
Yeah.
and
But
that's
see,
the
like
thing.
everything that's going on, like that's why everything that guy was saying today, like that's going on in China, like it's pretty fucking like mind blowing. How they're sending kids out here to go to school,
Right.
to learn, pretty much infiltrate the system in a way,
Yeah.
you know. And then they're still tied to the communist, so they can't really, they're not free because they're being tracked by the CPP, the Communist Party,
Yeah.
China's Communist Party. So as soon as they say something, like the next day they're on plane, they're fucked, their family's fucked, and you never hear from them again.
Right.
And then,
I mean, Russia's done that same shit.
Yeah.
We just.
but the
we
fact
don't-
that China is doing that to the Muslims, and then
Yeah.
you know, that's the Hong Kong situation too, right? They're involved in the Hong Kong situation.
Yeah, because Hong Kong wants freedom. Yeah.
Putting tariffs on Taiwan and all that stuff, and then the
Right.
U.S. is like, I'm not gonna say nothing as long as you keep doing business with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and then what happens? And then we're gonna have a fucking Holocaust, and then
Right.
what?
Towards Muslims, I guess.
Yeah, and then what happens? You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. When are we gonna stop? Like, didn't we learn our
Yeah.
lesson? Like,
I think journalists are very important in our society, but I think there's a group that is even more important,
who's
and I think comedians are the most important.
really?
I think comedians are like in the sense of like a society.
Yeah.
I think they're the people who drive conversation,
Okay.
right? Like they're the people who drive conversation because I feel like more people listen to comedians than they do journalists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everything that you said, right, about what this guy's saying, how like these companies, you know, take advantage. Comedians have already said this shit. Ricky Gervais came on the fucking not this year, but like the Oscars or the Golden Globes, whatever, were this year, and he was like calling them out, like you're coming over here and telling us what to do or whatever, and then but like you'll work for Apple, who basically does work with like slaves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but
they're
you guys
more,
are
they
all
have
working
more,
for.
They're more open to say it without getting
Well, that's the thing. Like
backlash.
They draw this line of like, they try to get past that line so that they you know, like you have the moral line where like you don't want to go past that, you know, and they kind of push that.
You know, because
they kind of push that. Like they want to push it so that they can get that
their point across.
Their point across, or they can get the conversation started. Yeah. You know, and a lot of them make like these like very, I don't want to say gross jokes, but like where you're just like, oh damn, that was kind of whatever. Yeah. And like you know, Dave Chappelle does it, Bill Burr does it, Andrew Schultz does it.
Yeah, with his new special.
You know, like they do all these things, and it's like, and people listen to them, right? Because it's funny, and it's like, whoa, what the hell? And you know, like J. Cole said one time, you know, all jokes have something real within them. Yeah. You know, like he says it in one of his songs, where he's like, oh, and then
there's a little bit of true in every joke.
Yeah, that's what he says.
In every joke. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, dude, and it makes sense. Yeah. You know, and I feel like there are like, if we try to cancel comedians,
that's why. Like, yeah, that's what Rogan always says. Like, you know, like, the day that comes when they try to censor comedians, like we're fucked. Yeah,
because there's no gonna be like movement. Yeah. Forward, you know. Yeah. And I was listening to like a comedian today, and he said something like, "So I can't remember exactly. Let's see if it comes to my mind, dude." But he's basically like, "Well, we don't necessarily know what we're talking about, but we are also like trying to push the envelope so that people have these talks and people understand and people listen and people try to have this conversation, right? But we shouldn't be the ones that are making the decision. We're just letting you know what we see as just like normal people, you know? Yeah. And we just say it in a funny way so that people can listen. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like that, like, there's some comedians that they're just funny. Yeah. And they're not gonna push the line. They're just gonna make up jokes and then you have like comedians like Dave Chappelle who push that line. Or, you know, they'll say shit like, I don't know if you've ever seen this special where he's like, what if an Asian guy says that he feels like a black guy inside and then you know, walks around and is like, well, I'm black inside, and it's like, you know what I mean? And he's talking like trans people. But like that's the thing, like he's not saying it because he hates trans people. He's saying it because that's what a lot of people like. That's what a lot of people believe. So you need to take that out of their mind so people understand what trans is really like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because there's people who actually believe that. He's just telling you that that's what people believe. Yeah. So now you're gonna be like, well, there's people that actually believe that. Well, you need to prove those people that it's not that same thing, dude. Because sex or like sexual identity is different from fucking race. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're either that or you're not. Yeah. You know, and sexual identity in some scientific beliefs is kind of fluid, in what you know, scientifically speaking, based off of whatever Harvard was talking about in this study that they did, you know what I mean? But he's not saying it because he's, you know, because he's
transphobe.
Like, yeah, he's saying it so that you can
get your mind going.
Get your mind going.
But that's what we've been saying. You know? The fucking podcast since the first day. Like these conversations are not. You know, nobody's having these conversations, so I guess especially in times like today, comedians are really important because they open up that conversation. Like that's probably one of our last resources that we have that we can get the conversation started without them getting canceled. You know what I mean? Because if you try to get that conversation started on social media, you're gonna get canceled. You know, or you're gonna get blocked, you're gonna get banned, like me. Right. You know, but comedians, they can still do that with being funny and at the same time not being insulting to whatever they're.
Because I think intention is. I think Ricky Gervais actually says that is that your intention of the, like, what is your intention? Yeah. When you say the
comedian's intention is to be funny, so that's why when he says it, whatever he says, they're still going to be taken as, oh well, his intention is to make a joke.
Right, but or is your intention for them to think about it and really it's not it.
Well, yeah, that's the comedian's intention, but from our point of view, we think that comedian that they're just trying to be funny. Yeah. So we don't think as maliciously. Right. But if I go and say it on social media, but then they're gonna think.
But there's malicious. Also some comedians that, well, I don't want to say comedians. There's some people who say they do comedy, and it's like, dude, well, that's just vicious, dude. Like what you're doing is not funny. Yeah. You know, like it's just like what you just said is, and you don't have an intention for people to think. You you're just making
Just
fun of the
throwing it
same
out
thing.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know. Like, I don't know if you know who Steven Crowder is.
Uh-uh.
The fool that always like, I don't know. He'll be like, gun control is nonsense. Prove me wrong or whatever. And he goes around and fucking talks to people.
Yeah.
Well, he's supposed to be a comedian, like a right wing comedian. But like I get it. Sometimes you're making people feel like or look stupid. And don't get me wrong, like they do look stupid.
Yeah.
You know. But then he'll have like a show where he's like doing a podcast and a bunch of people, and they'll be saying like some racist shit, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, dude. Well, that's not funny. That's just racist.
Yeah.
Like your intention is just to be racist, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and yeah, in some situations it is interesting, and I get it, you know. But like, what is the comedian's intention? When Ricky Gervais came out and said, "Well, you guys want to come up here and tell us to change and do all this stuff and talk about politics, but then you're working for Apple and Amazon and people who are taking advantage of all this."
Yeah.
You know, is that to like? Is his intention to bash the artist? No, his intention is for them to see what other people are seeing. The people who are on the right side going, why are these rich people telling me what to do? So that those artists can see and be like, oh,
yeah,
that just made sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't to be like, oh, you're stupid and you don't. No, because they're people and they're just taking jobs, dude. They're just taking, like, an actor isn't anything other than somebody who can do a job. Like, you're a fucking machinist, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're a machinist, right? Like, that's what your job is. They're actors. That's what their job is. So if somebody's like, hey, you need to do this job, if it's Amazon, well, they're paying me. I have to go fucking work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But they need to understand that, well, you can't come over here on your high horse when you're fucking working for people who are taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
And it's not like bashing them. It was more like, listen and see
what's going on. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people are not bashing you. You need to understand that this is what they're seeing, and you need to understand that.
Yeah.
And I feel like comedians do that the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we censor comedians, we're screwed.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're screwed.
Then there's that conversation can't be had anywhere.
Yeah, and you have like Andrew Schultz who says a lot of crazy shit. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
a lot of crazy shit.
You know what I mean? And then like, but the thing too is like comedians also don't know. They're also very good at like going back and forth.
Yeah.
And seeing something that's like, well, fuck, I said that last week. That shit didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And they're okay with it. You know? Whereas other people, like political analysts, they don't want to go back and be like, oh, shit, I was wrong.
I fucked up, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And comedians are like, well, I made a joke. I fucked up, and that was it. Like, that didn't make sense. And
it was a joke.
Yeah.
They can just say that. Yeah.
So, we're going to end it here because we said it was going to be short. And
Jair
said it was journalist. Which I think it's good if it's a journalist who works independently.
Objective journalism.
Yeah.
Real journalism, because, I mean, we shouldn't even say objective. It should just be journalism, but that's what I said.
You're right. I agree with you.
Journalism, we're fucked. Just like we lose comedians, we're fucked.
Yeah. Objective or...
Do you think Caitlyn Jenner's a comedian? Since she's running... It's running for...
She? What is it, she? I don't know.
It.
Nah, dude. You gotta be respectful.
Yeah.
I think you can be like, she. If that's what she wants to get called. I don't know.
I know.
It doesn't bother me.
I just start thinking about what I want to be called to.
Yeah. It doesn't really bother me, dude.
Nah, it doesn't bother me. I just like to make fun of shit.
Yeah, I know. No, it doesn't bother me either. All right, everybody. This is our 30-minute podcast for the day.
Yes, sir.
Just as a reminder, this is your specifically random podcast. I hope everybody listens and hit the subscribe button. Have a good one, everybody.
Yep.
Adios.
Good night. Peace.